Egypt's deposed President Hosni Mubarak will spend the rest of his life behind bars. He was found guilty by a Cairo court of complicity in the killing of hundreds of protesters by security forces during last year's revolution. Let's go live now to Maryam Ishani outside the courthouse in the Egyptian capital for the very latest on this. How are people there reacting? Well, was this the sentence they've been waiting for?
Clearly, the moment the word guilty was read, it was the word people wanted to hear. Obviously, it was a quick reading of the verdict, and the judge took the time to read the defendants' names. Each they responded. He referred to a dark 30 years of rule, repeating himself for emphasis, clearly wanting to draw attention to this moment in history. He talked about how critical it was that out of this darkness, Egypt find peace. And as he was speaking, the crowd outside the court began chanting that now infamous cry that's been heard in streets and squares across the region. The people demand the end of the regime. And as he was saying that, the judge was almost saying in a plea to the defendants that all the people had asked for was justice, all the people had asked for was freedom, was democracy. And he said that today was a noteworthy day, that on June 2nd, 2012, a president of Egypt stood before a civilian court. When people heard the word guilty, it was an immediate celebration and fireworks. Unfortunately, it was short-lived. For many who had lost so much, it was just not enough. I spoke to a man, Mohammed Mustafa Morsi, whose 22-year-old son was killed, who said that he was in tears of disappointment. He wanted the death penalty for his son who had been lost. People immediately wanted to know why the sons were not found. Both sons, Gamal and Allah, found not guilty of all the charges against them. 6 lower-ranking Central Security individuals from the Intelligence Ministry were found not guilty. So immediately discussion began about what the future holds. Will Gamal and Allah simply step up and fill their father's shoes? Will the Interior Ministry continue to operate the way it always has without a penalty against them? I spoke again to that mother from Alexandria who was very disappointed with the results.
And clearly a tense situation inside and outside the courtroom. The sentence comes just before the second round of the presidential election later this month. Are the people who took to Tahrir Square last year happy with how their revolution is working out, do you think?
Well, clearly this is going to affect the outcome of the elections. It's amazing that the judge did decide to deliver his verdict bang in the middle of 2 rounds of elections. Obviously, people wonder if Shafiq wins the presidency, will he use his position to pardon President Mubarak, or former President Hosni Mubarak, now convicted? Will Mohammed Morsi stick to his promise that if he is elected, he will make sure that Mubarak stays in prison till the end of his days? Remember, former President Hosni Mubarak is 84 years old, and so a life sentence could be a short one. As well, currently he is quite comfortable in a medical facility. He has been acquitted of the charges of corruption, which means his personal wealth is something that didn't face the scrutiny people thought it might. He could use those funds to live quite comfortably the rest of his days. He as well, it hasn't been clarified whether he will be stripped of his medals, as people spoke that he would lose his military ranking and have to serve his time in a civilian facility as a civilian.
Okay, of course we'll have,
I think it's important to remember that many of the families here expressed disappointment that that the justice they were looking for, I think obviously many felt would never really be found, but many of the mothers here were still with tears in their eyes.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there for now, but more on this as we get it here on RT. Maryam Ishani, live from Cairo. Thank you for that update.